In recent days, a scandal with the potential to reshape the national discussion on market integrity has emerged, centered on a series of transactions that may well indicate insider trading within the highest echelons of government. The controversy arises from evidence that suggests significant stock purchases were made just minutes before President Trump announced a 90-day tariff pause, a sequence of events that has raised profound questions about market manipulation and governance. Evidence points to a situation where, in the interval between destabilizing market remarks and a subsequent reversal of fortunes following the announcement, a number of investors strategically acquired call options. This maneuver allowed them to capitalize on the volatility, with the market seemingly engineered to rebound sharply after the initial plunge. Traditionally, such activities would prompt immediate scrutiny from regulatory bodies like the Securities and Exchange Commission, which would determine whether these actions constituted insider trading or public market manipulation. However, given the current administration's influence over these agencies, there is growing skepticism as to whether a proper investigation can take place without bias. In this complex environment, congressional oversight faces significant hurdles. While records on trading activities exist and could potentially expose these ill-timed investments, the investigative reach is largely confined to federal law enforcement, including the Department of Justice and the FBI. Despite the theoretical capacity for Congress to issue subpoenas, the procedural reality is that minority voices lack the leverage required to compel cooperation from these agencies. As a consequence, independent state-level legal authorities, such as New York Attorney General Letitia James, have been highlighted as potential alternatives to uncover the facts behind these transactions. Such independent investigations could bypass the shortcomings of federal oversight by utilizing their own legal teams and investigative resources. Simultaneously, broader economic concerns are intensifying. The downturn in the stock market is not merely a matter of fluctuating numbers, but has real-life impacts on the savings and retirement funds of ordinary Americans. At a time when many families are grappling with diminished 401k values and a series of escalating living costs, particularly affecting seniors who depend on a fixed income, there is stark irony in witnessing the financial gains reaped by the wealthiest. President Trump, in a highly publicized moment within the Oval Office alongside Charles Schwab, was seen remarking on the billions generated through such market maneuvers, a clear indication that the policies in place appear to favor those already positioned at the apex of wealth accumulation. Moreover, recent legislative actions underscore this troubling trend. The House of Representatives advanced a budget that includes trillions in tax breaks for billionaires and large corporations, funded by proposed cuts to vital public services. These cuts are set to reduce access to healthcare care for infants and seniors, trim benefits from Social Security, diminish the capacity of the Veterans Administration, and constrain the resources available to public schools. This policy direction contrasts sharply with President Trump's frequent campaign assurances that he would lower costs for American families upon taking office, a promise that now appears starkly at odds with his administration's actions. The administration's recent priorities further exacerbate the situation. Instead of addressing the pressing economic needs that affect the daily lives of millions, ranging from soaring egg prices to the threat of layoffs, President Trump has been observed shifting focus to less consequential matters, such as deploying troops to Panama or attending to minor infrastructure challenges. This divergence from addressing core economic issues underscores a fundamental misalignment between the campaign promises made to reduce burdens on everyday Americans and the outcomes witnessed today, where policies seem to disproportionately benefit the wealthiest. As the scandal continues to unfold, leaders on Capitol Hill, particularly Senate Democrats, are determined to preserve investigative momentum despite their minority status. They insist on underscoring the issue of corruption and the administration's handling of market manipulation, both as a principled stand and as a practical measure to prevent further abuse of power. The strategic use of legislative tools, including holding up nominations that could otherwise smooth the path for additional questionable policies, signals a persistent commitment to holding the administration accountable. Ultimately, the ongoing investigations and political maneuvering form part of a larger narrative that questions the integrity of the current governing paradigm. With the financial stability of millions of Americans hanging in the balance, the call to action is unequivocal. Robust, unbiased investigations must be pursued, and every available tool should be employed to ensure transparency and fairness in the management of the nation's economic future. The combined efforts of Congress, state authorities, and informed constituents remain essential in challenging any attempts to operate outside the bounds of accountability.